The Alaska Highway is more than just a road, it's a vital artery that pulses through the heart of the North, connecting remote communities and wild landscapes. It's Alaska's lifeline to the rest of the United States, a route that links the state's rugged wilderness to the outside world. For decades, it's been the main route for goods, services, and people traveling overland, braving harsh weather and long distances. Trucks haul everything from groceries to construction materials north, ensuring that store shelves stay stocked and projects keep moving. While families use it for vacations, adventures, and even life-changing moves, the highway becomes a path to new beginnings and cherished memories. The highway is a physical and psychological link for a state separated from the lower 48, bridging vast distances and cultural divides. Stretching over 1,300 miles from Dawson Creek, British Columbia, through the Yukon and into Alaska, it's an engineering marvel built during World War II, constructed in record time under extreme conditions. Today, it supports communities on both sides of the border, making everyday life possible and affordable for Alaskans and their Canadian neighbors. Billions in trade, vital supplies for oil, fishing, and tourism all depend on this route, fueling local economies and supporting livelihoods. Small towns like Tok and Whitehorse rely on the steady flow of travelers, whose presence keeps businesses open and communities thriving. Any disruption sends shockwaves through both economies, leading to shortages, higher prices, and uncertainty for families and businesses alike. For Alaskans, the highway means freedom, connection, and the ability to drive south when needed, whether for work, family, or adventure. Its closure isn't just inconvenient, it's a profound isolation, cutting off access to essential goods, services, and opportunities. The highway is more than pavement. It's the backbone of Alaska's commerce and identity, a symbol of resilience and connection. Losing it severs a primary bond, leaving the state cut off and vulnerable, reminding us just how crucial this road is to Alaska's survival and spirit. Canada's decision to close the Alaska Highway was driven by national security and environmental concerns. Officials cited damage from increased U.S. truck traffic to sensitive ecosystems in British Columbia and the Yukon. The closure was framed as a necessary pause for environmental assessment and to renegotiate protection protocols. Political tensions over trade, especially the failed softwood lumber talks, also played a role. The move was a strategic reminder of Canada's importance as a transit country. Environmental groups celebrated the closure, seeing it as a win for conservation. For many Canadians, it was a stand for sovereignty and environmental stewardship. The government insisted it was temporary, but it marked a new, more contentious phase in U.S. Canada relations. The highway's closure hit Alaska hard and fast, sending shockwaves through every corner of the state almost overnight. Supermarket shelves emptied as residents rushed to stock up, and food prices soared. Panic buying became the norm, with families worried about how long supplies would last. With 95% of its food imported, Alaska faced a supply crisis overnight. Construction projects halted, leaving workers uncertain about their next paycheck, and communities with unfinished infrastructure. Small businesses ran out of inventory with no way to restock. Tourism collapsed, devastating an industry that many towns rely on for survival. Thousands of livelihoods were threatened. Families were separated, students stranded far from home, and the sense of uncertainty grew with each passing day. People were unable to move in or out, with travelers stuck at borders and loved ones forced apart by circumstances beyond their control. Hospitals faced delays in medical supplies, forcing rationing and postponed procedures. Medical staff worked tirelessly, but the shortages put lives at risk. Those needing treatment in the lower 48 faced expensive last-minute flights, adding financial strain to already stressful situations. The sense of isolation was overwhelming. This was an external decision that upended daily life and left many feeling abandoned. The highway was more than a road. It was Alaska's connection to the country, a vital artery for goods, people, and hope. Its closure felt like a betrayal, leaving Alaskans powerless and forgotten, their voices unheard in a time of crisis. The psychological toll was immense as the state's independence was tested like never before. Anxiety and uncertainty became daily companions. The economic and human costs rippled through every community, touching every household and business, large or small. Alaska's resilience was challenged by a crisis beyond its control, but communities came together, supporting one another in the face of adversity. The shutdown exposed just how fragile the state's connection to the rest of America truly is, and how quickly that lifeline can be severed. Former President Trump responded to Alaska's crisis with remarkable speed and unmistakable force, seizing the moment to demonstrate his signature leadership style. He publicly condemned Canada's action, labeling it a hostile blockade, and promised that the United States would respond with immediate and overwhelming American strength. Without delay, Trump assembled a rapid response task force, instructing them to bypass the Canadian closure by any means necessary and to ensure Alaska would not be isolated. He personally negotiated with top shipping and aviation companies, forging new partnerships to create an emergency air and sea bridge to Alaska, keeping vital supply lines open. Soon, military transport planes began airlifting essential goods, food, medicine, and fuel, showcasing the full might of American logistical power and military readiness. Trump demanded emergency waivers, including a temporary suspension of the Jones Act, to allow foreign ships to deliver supplies directly to Alaska, breaking through bureaucratic bottlenecks and red tape. He unveiled the American Freedom Corridor, a visionary high-speed rail and utility route designed to bypass Canada entirely, ensuring Alaska's future security and independence. The plan was bold, privately funded, and aimed to guarantee Alaska's permanent connection to the lower 48 states, regardless of foreign interference. Trump's actions were highly visible, bypassing traditional diplomatic channels in favor of direct, headline-grabbing action that kept him at the center of the national conversation. Daily press briefings highlighted the tons of food, fuel, and medical supplies delivered, as well as rapid progress on new infrastructure, reassuring Americans of the administration's effectiveness. The response was classic Trump, decisive, theatrical, and deeply rooted in the America First philosophy, putting national interests above all else. In the end, he turned the crisis into a powerful showcase of American strength, ingenuity, and the relentless drive to protect every corner of the nation, no matter the challenge. Many Alaskans welcomed Trump's swift intervention. Former Governor Sarah Palin praised his efforts, saying he hadn't forgotten Alaska. Residents felt abandoned by Washington, but grateful for urgent action. Relief was visible as military planes landed with supplies. Truck drivers and business owners expressed gratitude for the lifeline. Across the Yukon, Canadians were divided. Some business owners suffered from the loss of American travelers and called the closure short-sighted. Others supported the government's stance, prioritizing environmental protection over commerce. The closure exposed deep ideological divides, economic survival versus ecological defense. For some Canadians, it was a necessary stand for sovereignty. For others, it was a blow to cross-border relationships and local economies. The crisis highlighted how interconnected and divided the two countries had become. Trump's aggressive response was seen by some as help, by others as arrogance. The situation left communities on both sides anxious for resolution. The diplomatic fallout was immediate. The White House issued formal protests, but Trump's actions overshadowed official responses. The administration acknowledged the success of private and military airlifts. Prime Minister Trudeau called for calm, insisting the closure was temporary and necessary. Ottawa viewed Trump's Freedom Corridor as a threat to Canada's strategic role. International allies urged a swift, peaceful resolution, worried about broader implications. The standoff strained the U.S. Canada partnership, exposing how quickly alliances can fray. U.S. politicians took sides. Republicans praised Trump's leadership. Democrats called it reckless. The crisis deepened political polarization at home. The event became a test of leadership, diplomacy, and national priorities. The world watched as two close allies drifted further apart. The Alaska highway shutdown left a lasting scar on U.S. Canada relations. The world's longest undefended border now feels like a line of contention. The incident exposed deep differences in sovereignty and priorities. Trump's Freedom Corridor proposal gained traction, signaling a possible permanent shift. The trust that once defined the relationship has been shaken. Rebuilding it will require more than reopening a road. It demands renewed commitment and respect. The 2025 shutdown will be remembered as a turning point. Whether the two nations mend their bond or drift into rivalry will shape North America's future.